pow, pow! Woo! Dun, 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 dun. Good morning. Karen Lovely here. And this is such an amazing, miraculous, magnetic, magical surprise for this podcast because I was so honored and blessed to hear from an extraordinary, massively talented, creative human being. And it has been years, and I mean years. Early on when I started my coaching practice, I had a dream meeting. And so I did invite people to my ranch, and I did it coaching, and it was a way to connect with people and be with like-souled, like-minded, like-energy, like-hearted people. And then out of the blue, thanks to Facebook, I get a message from this superhero human being to say thank you. And that said, I want to welcome Richard Haselrig to my podcast to share his story, his breakthrough, what has happened since. And it literally has been years and years since we have spoken. So this is unscripted, impromptu. That said, welcome, Richard. OMG, how are you, my superhero comic book artist?
Well, I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, what was it that had you reach out and message me? Because I'm not even on Facebook at all, like so bad. I know it's not good.
Well, one, I'm flowing in my gift, and you were a very, very big part of that happening. And so, yeah, I wanted to reach out. And besides, we've communicated via Instagram. I know your Instagram, and you've seen my sketches and stuff like that. So we've been connected for all these years. And I was just saying thank you, and I was excited about where my life was going, and you were a contributor to that.
So did you happen to just did I just pop up in your head? Do you know intuitively, or did you see a post or a picture of something?
You are one of my contacts. So your face is there, cheering, your little picture there cheering.
Yeah.
So it's like I saw it there. Also, I stay in touch with other contacts that I've met. I told you where I've met others, and I stay in touch with people that I've known for years. And you are a valuable contact, very valuable.
Wow. So thank you for that. And I'm just so surprised when this happens.
Right.
I'm surprised, not surprised, but it's because I'm rarely, if ever, on Facebook. But so to me, I was so excited and spiritually honored to receive your message. And so then I asked you to be on the podcast, and you actually said, no, wait until things are, better.
Yeah. Because I knew where, you asked me that, and I knew where I was going. I'm kind of succeeding, but I'm on my way, and I'm going, wait until I have some happy customers to say, hey, yes, I'm actually succeeding. But right now, I'm kind of climbing, but it's a good climb.
Right, but then I messaged you and said, whoa, wait a minute, right? Let's not get fixated on the results, because it's never about the results. It's about the journey, the path, enjoying along the way. And, I was pretty bold I messaged you saying, no, you have so much to offer in sharing your story. So inspiring. I lit up like a light bulb just to receive your message. It didn't really matter, because all I looked at was I knew the breakthrough we had in that dream meeting for you, and then for you to pursue your passion and your gift was what excited me most. And we'll get into that in a moment. So I just really am so happy you said yes, and you heard what I was saying in terms of, I don't want to talk to you later in June based on that, because if we waited, we're missing so much of the right now and how much you have accomplished and done in that time that I haven't formally, social media, but we haven't actually spoken, person to person.
That's true.
Woo!
That's true.
Yeah. So let's go back.
May I share what the breakthrough was in, I think it was 2012, 2011, 2012, around that area? May I share what that breakthrough was?
Well, you read my mind. I was just about to ask you, go back in time and go ahead, please. The floor is yours.
Because I want to do that, because it was a really, really cool moment. I've been drawing since I was 3, really. So I've never not wanted to work as a comic book penciler, writer, story. I basically wanted to be Frank Miller, John Byrne, George Perez. They were my idols for few years. Well, I came to California in 1997, and I wanted to really do this, but portfolio reviews, which I'd gone to quite a few with DC and Marvel, didn't produce the jobs that I wanted. However, I did get independent work. Some went well, but there was never another following job. I had a day job with newspaper, and when I met Karen, nothing was really happening in that area. Now, I knew about disciplines like writing a little bit every day as a writer, writing 5 pages every day. If you write a comic book story, it's got to have a story, so you write it. Well, I wasn't doing that. Well, with Karen, she would let you know that you only have one life to live, and you're not getting any younger, and all that stuff, sort of, but there was an energy that you can do it. Not only that, you're not the only one. And so I'm like, well, I know with the energy that I got from her meetings, I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to write 5 pages a day on my present character. Well, I did that, and it felt incredible. The next meeting, the script was, okay, it was handwritten. I liked to write it, so it wasn't typed up, but the idea solidly was there. Going from one thing to another was a great thing, and this thing had been in my head for how long? Like 12 years?
Yeah.
Something like that. And it was like, it's real. The characters have blood in their veins now, and they're breathing, and the bad guy is kind of fleshed out and stuff like that. And so I came with that I was galvanized by the meetings. And it was a big deal. Big deal.
So I want to tell you what I remember. It's really weird because I have a selective memory. And actually, I had one boyfriend who's like, you have a terrible memory. Like, for one holiday, he gave me a book on memory. I was like, that's offensive. Okay, break up. You're done. You're out. You're out of here. But, I do. Here's what I remember, because I remember things that I know make a difference. Like, it's really weird and odd, and I've been like this since I was a little kid. But anyway, I remember because I said something I said something that woke you up, and I remember you sitting on the edge of the couch with this like dumbfounded look of, and it took you a moment. Do you remember that? Like something hit.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There were many, you didn't probably see all the moments, but there were many moments like that. So I'm afraid I don't know exactly which one that was.
Well, it was when I was talking to you directly, because here's what I remember. You have been drawing since you're 3, which you just said, but I do remember early on. And I remember that you hadn't actually been drawing for like 25 years, like a big number. You hadn't been really. Do you remember that? I hadn't actually done a comic book or a comic strip in that long. I'd drawn a lot, working on my figure, but that was it.
But that was I hadn't done a comic book, and it's like if you do, working for newspapers, doing an illustration, doing a graphic design, that's good, but that wasn't the goal. So yeah, I remember that slap. I'm like going, I haven't drawn a comic book page and blah 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 blah.
25 years, I remember. That's what astounded me, because this is normal for people. Yeah. Normal. So you were drawing, yes. Yeah, but we go around. You weren't going right for the Go ahead, say it.
Yeah, I wasn't making a complete comic book product. And yes, I remember when I was in school, I did comic strips for a school, and I did that for like 3 years, and that was regular. So I made completed projects, written, penciled, inked, lettered, all that. And I'm like going, I haven't done that? Yeah, that was kind of a shocker.
Bingo!
I realized that was kind of a shocker.
Well, I think that was the look on your face.
Yeah.
I remember, because the whole goal of coaching is my coaching is to reconnect you to that inner child who never questions that passion, that gift, that talent, that genius. And when we all sat there, especially, and you you then had to face the reality because it wasn't a good look. You were like, we don't want to face our reality. It hit you. I believe that was the energy because it's coming up now. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Was that you had to face the reality that you were not doing what you know is your jam. And then you had to face that. That's painful to face, isn't it?
It was a real solid slap in the face. Because it's all, like I said, 3 years. I have never not known that I wanted to be a comic book writer, artist, and creator. It's never not been in my head. And the fact that I went that long without making a completed comic book page to hand off to the next, that next person.
I know. It hurts now to think about, doesn't it?
I think that's kind of the reason I jumped to you. I contacted you and thanked you because that happened. But that's I actually finished a project. But that's jumping ahead. Let me jump ahead.
Exactly. Well, no, and so something, because intuitively something must have sparked to have you at this time contact me, and I'm glad you did. It was a perfect time. It always is, out of the blue, because I know you had been looking at Instagram, but it wasn't the same as this contact. No. So intuitively, I know something sparked you because it is connected. And me as just the divine messenger, will take the credit in that the message from the divine at that meeting was for me. I'm just the messenger. So it was up. The universe or God or whatever the goddess is, whatever energy you want to say, came through me to say, Richard, sorry, if you're stating to me consciously that you want to do comic books and you're not doing it, we got to have you have a breakthrough there. We have to find out why you're not doing it. And let's get the party started. And that's what the message came through, right? So it's all connected. So I remember it was like jaw to the ground.
Yeah, jaw to the ground.
And then all of a sudden, it took, like, we were all just quiet. Just like that. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God. Like, you didn't necessarily say that, but something then clicked over. You were able to connect a dot. Because then I remember, after that meeting, you were on fire. You were on fire. So tell us about that.
There's this yellow notebook that I had in place long ago to start writing out certain ideas, slight ideas for the character that I was working on, where he came from, who his parents were, why he's doing what he's doing, et cetera, and on and on. And that's been there for a while. Well, I went straight to that notebook, and like I said, I'd learned about writers writing regularly, like 5 pages a day. I could tell stories about that. There was there was this one story where this guy had a writing coach, and he would meet at 5 o'clock in the morning with a professional writing coach, and he would say, "Do not eat unless you've written 5 pages." And I never forgot that, but I didn't do it. I still haven't done it, but I went at that time. It's like every morning was like after reading my Bible, I went straight to that.
Wow.
And I did it until the 5 pages were done, and I was juggling a day job at the time. So it's a disciplines thing, but it's also this is what I was made to do. Why am I not doing it? It was a real anger thing.
Yeah.
You start getting really angry about yourself. It's like, I mean, if you have a goal that has been there since 3 years old and something that you've never questioned, it guided the classes that you took in school, in high school, in college. It guided. I attended North Carolina School of the Arts, which was a 2-year kind of college sort of thing. While I was in high school, I was a high school student in a college environment. That choice made me want to do that. So if it's affected so many things and you're not doing it, what are you doing? What
the frick?
25 years go?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was like it was a very personalized slap in the face. It was a slap in the face just for me.
Right. Because I was coaching people in the room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
Yes.
Yeah, there were other people.
Yeah. And it was specific to you, but we are all one. That's the thing in transformation that set me free, is to realize we're all the same fundamentally. We have all the same issues fundamentally. And if we think we're different, nope, sorry, not to burst your bubble, but if you're in a human suit with a human brain, you deal with the same types of fears and self-sabotage to certain degrees or another, just like the rest of us. And that's what had me really catapult my own self-evolution. But, okay, so here you are. I want to just say this is what it takes, right, is that you showed up to the meeting. So and I call them dream meetings. Come to my dream meeting. So we have to be open. There are prerequisites to breaking through in life and really going for our deepest passions, our soul-based passions that are gifts, that are truly our genius and our gift, yes?
Right.
So you were in self-development and, you were showing up to be in the same energy. So that was number one. That's what we must do, is be open. And then you were also open at some level to seeing something that you couldn't see, to really facing yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, because that's also what it takes. And again, I know by experience.
Right.
I was willing to be ripped wide open and go back to my childhood wounds and see why the why I was sabotaging myself and how it was serving me in a diabolical way. I'm just a mirror. So I held up the mirror to say, you're saying one thing, right, Richard?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. And it was totally unexpected. I was not expecting that.
Yes.
Not at all.
And that's what I believe does it. It's one thing because, we can tell people get to the gym, work out, have a certain percentage of body fat. And do they do it? No, we have a raging obesity issue here in the United States. So it doesn't work to tell people what to do. What has worked historically for me and you, whether, you at the time you didn't really see it, but now I believe you do, is that we have to actually find out why, the what's missing as to why you were not living in your passion and doing the comic books. That's what does it, is understanding why you were so afraid to pursue your deepest desire and dreams and gift. Now, I don't know
if I may point out,
yes, please.
I have a good family unit. I have a good mother, father, wonderful sisters. My father introduced me to, and he's an educator. He was a principal at school, and he introduced me to speakers like Zig Ziglar. He didn't push it on me.
Right.
He played it, and I listened, and he would sort of point. So he wasn't trying to go, hey, be like this. Mm-hmm. It's just that I've always wanted to be a better Richard Haselrig, and so that was a way. But he introduced me to Earl Nightingale, and later on I sought out myself. Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and I've listened to the tapes and stuff like that, and they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. So, but what I'm saying is, I had all that going into a coaching session, but I was missing a lot because I wasn't doing. Mm-hmm. The coaching sessions put a real fire under your butt that you can't really do yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't, but I will say that there's a before and after when you're going to a coaching session, because it's you and not a person talking on a tape to thousands of people. Mm-hmm.
No. Well, I love that you bring that up. It's right. We don't want to say you truly can't do it yourself. But in essence, we virtually cannot, only because our brain is so powerful to shut us off from more pain. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Exactly.
And Brian Tracy on a tape is not going to point that out to me.
No.
The coach.
Exactly.
Les Brown, as great as he is, isn't going to say, "Hey, Richard, you haven't been doing this for 25 years, yet you say it's your goal. It's really your goal." Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I know that I dealt with the fear, because I can only tell you what's worked for me, because I should have been dead a long time ago. So I'm only speaking from experience, and clearly, if I'm still here, it works. But that's all I can say. Right? Is that we can't see what we don't even know to look for, and it does take another human to help us see it. And that's when the massive breakthrough occurs. Once you made that connection, here's what mysteriously, miraculously, mystically happens is we all of a sudden get this effortless action energy to where all of a sudden we're freed up to just take action. Because I'll tell you the answer. Fundamentally, it was because at some level, you were not doing your greatest gift or passion because you didn't think you deserved it, you were worth it, and who were you to do it? And that's fundamental with every human being, whether they admit it or not. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So something shifted where you were able to make the connection for yourself and connect to just the passion and the love for it. Would that resonate with you to make sense that we just pointed out that you weren't doing something that you were so passionate about. You actually reconnected yourself to that passion.
Well, what it connected me with the excitement.
Yes.
And that, but it also connected me with what it takes. It's being an artist in this field. Okay. Yeah. Your average comic book is like 30 pages. That's 30 pages. Each page is an illustration and of various levels of difficulty and detail. But that's 30 drawings. Yeah. In order to make that happen regularly, you need to draw every day. And the average for a comic book artist is a comic book page a day. Now, those are guys like, as McFarlane was and Brian Hitch are. They do it. They do 1 page a day, maybe 2 pages a day, because they get paid for it. And that's what I was kind of missing. I'm not looking to buy a Lamborghini. I just want to be able to live well in this field. And it was tough to have that much discipline for something that I wasn't being paid for, even though at the time it was just for me. But that's the level that has lifted now. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I was saying yes to the excitement, but I was also saying yes to I'm worth the effort, I'm worth the time, and this is me.
Bingo.
This is me.
Yes.
I'm worth it.
Yes.
So it's like, pay the price for me, for myself. I'm willing to do it for my newspaper guys, and at my day job, I'm willing to be on time for them. Do it for yourself.
Bingo. Yeah. That's what you reconnected to. Is you lost that childlike wonder and excitement to just do it for you.
And I would do it for hours when I was 10. Yes.
Yes.
I have to admit that.
Yes. And we reconnected you to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That excitement. And in that, because that's my whole shtick, in that high vibrational energy, the magic happens. So then let's talk about this. I mean, now you've put yourself in a position where people are coming to you wanting to pay you and offering you the service. I mean, you're offering them the service. They're willing to pay you now. You did take action, and that was after really training for your connection to passion. Because if we do the timeline, this was about 2012, 2013 that you had the breakthrough. And then we really lost touch after that, for whatever reasons. And then you just said a year ago, it's really started to take off. You did show up to Comic-Con and they had this really cool thing, which I think is brilliant. Right. So that was the comic book creator connection. That's comic book creator connection. And it's basically a speed dating between comic book artists and comic book writers, or just artists and writers. And they get together and they find out whether they're compatible for a project. And it's through that process that I got a lot of contacts. And it was amazing because I've been going to Comic-Con since 2000, and so it's been a long time. And you talk to the professional area, DC Marvel, and you show your portfolio, and that's good and everything. But apparently I wasn't good enough for them to hire. Well, if you bump into someone who's not DC Marvel and they really want to make something, and you guys have that passion, it's a whole lot better. At least you're moving forward, even if it's not. You can't do anything right now. And that event was wonderful, and there were people who could help me build a career Yes. So wait a second. You had been going to Comic-Con since 2000.
Yeah.
But when did you go into the part where you the
It was last year.
Ah!
I actually went to this event that's been going for years. Probably not since 2000, but it's been there, and I would see it advertised in the publication that the Comic-Con puts out. So it was there. And I literally had a mentality that, this is a bunch of losers. I shouldn't be going to this. And it was the totally wrong thing to think. It was utterly stupid and dumb because, hey, Marvel and DC, hey, they're the big guys. That's good. But there's tons of wonderful stories and wonderful artists out there that simply either haven't been picked up or just they haven't gone that route. But yeah, tons of wonderful stories out there, and they're very personal.
Yes.
Very personal.
So what had you, I'm sorry, what was the, thinking back now, what helped you to make that decision to finally go, even though it's been there for so long, and it was just last year that you went to the speed dating connection networking thing? Yeah, do you remember? Like, what had you go?
What made me go?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Well, my goodness. I think, okay, it probably wasn't anything that deep. At the Comic-Con, there's billions of things to go to, and you make a choice as to what to go to for you. That, simply, I had never been to it, so I went ahead and applied. Also, I think when I met you, I had a portfolio that had a lot of old work.
Yep, but it was great work. I
needed to update it. And since then, I have a totally new portfolio. And that had a lot to do with that moment because it galvanized me. And also, so like I had a brand new updated portfolio to show. And I figured, let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. And I went, and it turned out to be better than dealing with the hobnobbers and the Marvel and DC guys because they're very closed. They actually are. They're actually very close. These guys were wide open, and it was great. It was good news. So what made me go? I chose to do it this time.
You had built up your spiritual chops, so to speak, and your self-worth and self-confidence all along the years. I'm going to chalk it up to that.
And my portfolio, don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was you saying, wait, I need to update. I'm willing to invest time, money, energy into me, invest into me.
Right. Yeah.
And as we invest into ourselves, our spiritual bank account, it really starts to add up. And so I believe, that you just said, I think I'm ready for this. You didn't actually say it, that obviously, but it was being ready because some people just aren't ready, and that's okay too. And we have to build up to that.
Right. But I also had a few successes. I had sold about a few illustrations for like $200 a pop.
Yep.
That was nice. So it's like I had that under the belt, but still that was based on daily practice, the sketches that you saw, and I would say just draw anything. That was from that practice was from the galvanization because I put the time in. Yep. And then I wasn't so fussy about what I drew.
Wow. So much. So many successes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm just curious because that's the thing we stop ourselves. Form of self-sabotage to not follow that gut, that intuition that maybe I'll just show up. And you showed up with no expectations. You did have some successes because you keep saying, and I love it, thank you for saying it. It took a lot of discipline, self-motivation, self-generation. You had to keep showing up just to do it for yourself.
Exactly.
For no money.
That's really important. Like a moment like right now, I do this every day anyway. I have a book that has athletic poses. And I draw from that every day just to make sure I get the proportions, drawing the proportions of the body automatically. So the head's not too big, the leg's not too big. It's simple stuff, but it used to be very hard. Yes, exactly. Practice, right?
Yeah. Practice to proficiency, not to perfection. That's my saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Bingo! Ooh, truth bomb! Dang!
And by the way, I've been slammed enough about my anatomy, so I said never more.
Woo! Right? So we
like,
practice
yeah.
for proficiency, not perfection, because I'm a recovering
Absolutely.
perfectionist. So there
Right.
you had the
Same
discipline.
with me. Same with me.
Exactly. Well,
and I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. When the daily drawing thing, that was done when I'm drawing like a truck or a building before I would want to get every detail there is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not about that.
Right.
So loosen up and just get what the thing looks like. Make sure the shapes are there. Make sure it says a truck, and then it's a truck in perspective. And I understood the principles of perspective. And just get it done.
Yeah. And
that actually catapulted a lot.
Yes. Well, that's overcoming in your head, in your mind, so that took work and practice. And that's the whole thing. This is like elite mental performance mindset and heart set.
True.
So, yeah. True. See, it takes all of this. It's not just one and done. It's never one and done. It's one and done, one and done, one and done again, over and over and over, rinse and repeat. And that's what had it. But again, I want to just emphasize the thing that will catapult us the most is looking for what we can't see that is feeding into the self-sabotaging cycle. Why we're not staying connected to our passion and how ridiculous that is. Also, we must have no attachments or expectation. The thing that has worked historically for me over and over again is come heck or high water. I am going to do what I love for no money. I don't care about the money. I only care about my heart and being happy and doing what I love. And sure enough, over and over again, I've made lots and lots of money. And not only that, I magnetize people coming to me and saying, can I hire you? Can I pay you? Can you go work this job for me over here? The money just comes to me because I'm in my highest vibration of passion and burning desire and obsession. And that's what's been happening with you, Richard.
Yeah, it is. I was like, hey, yeah.
Yes.
The way you were describing it, it was like you've been around me. But
yeah.
That's pretty much what's been happening.
Exactly. So even if you think back, just curious, you go to the speed dating thing, and it's not dating, but the speed networking.
This is the speed networking between artists and writers, yeah.
Yeah. So was it
a great event?
The client came to you, really, and said, okay, well, I think you're the guy. I'm going to hire you. Is that how that happened?
No, it was more like, okay, you only had 5 minutes to talk.
Right.
So it started the conversation. And the way it would work on my end, thankfully, there were less artists than writers. In short, there's less people who can make a job happen than people who have the idea. Lots of ideas, thousands of ideas. Right. And that's good. That's good. Yeah. So the artists sat down, and we had our portfolios in place. The writers circulated. So for 5 minutes, you could you could share what you have to offer to each other. Now, I had my portfolio there, so the first thing I did was, look, you know what you want to do. I would tell the writer, you know what you want to do. So I'm just going to show you what I have in my portfolio, show you my skills, and you know whether I can fit into your idea. Now, I did that as quickly as I could. From there, they could tell me the ideas that I could fit in. So it wasn't, you could tell if people start, once in a while a person would start talking about how they take care of their artists, they pay them well, they take care of the finance. That's a person that is thinking higher. Then there's those who are looking for a relationship that I've had with other people, which is good. What I'm getting ready to say is not bad, but it's more like you're a partner with them, you're a co-creator. So you guys put out the sweat equity, possibly even your own money, your own time and everything like that. Make a product, maybe being funded by Kickstarter and stuff like that, and then the money comes back to you after the book is done. I'm fine with that, but I need to be in better financial shape artistically to do that. So I was looking for the work for hire opportunities.
Good, so you care about that.
Yeah, right. So, it was from the way they talked, I was able to understand who they were. Now I keep in contact with all of them. But the ones I say, let's do something, and they're willing to pay me what I ask, I'm working with them now.
Okay, beautiful. So again, just wondering, because very helpful. Do you remember? Did you say let's do something, or did they initiate? Okay, I think you're.
Well, it's kind of like dating. So in that you're there,
yeah.
You're obviously there because you want to do something.
Right.
And so okay, you're asking who would actually say in that conversation?
Yeah, think back.
They would.
Okay, and what would they say?
I like your stuff, and it fits. I've got this horror idea because one of my pages has a story with the Marvel character Blade. My story with a Marvel character Blade, and it's dark and everything. Then there's another one that's more adventure-like with the Phantom, and so one would speak to the adventure, the other would speak to the more. It was a fight scene, so it had adventure, but it was darker, and it didn't have guys in tights, Superman and stuff like that, and. So they would go, oh, this would be great for a horror story that I have, or they would simply go, yes, it's my idea, and then they would spend some time talking about the idea that would fit. Because some would come with 3 or 4 ideas, some would come with 1 idea, most would come with a script or at least a synopsis of their idea. And if they do that, they actually want to work with you. Oh, you're giving me something that I can take with me, that I can get back to you? Oh, okay.
Bingo. So you magnetize them coming to you and who you were being and your attitude and not being focused on making money.
No.
But, right, you were focused on it being a match.
Well, yeah, because you didn't have enough time to talk about that sort of stuff. And
right, it was initial.
It was more. Yeah, it was more. I was there. I'm a servant at heart.
Yes.
The people that I work for. If I'm a work for hire, it's good for everybody.
Bingo.
If I am invested in your concept. By the way, I'm not selling, but this is the way I feel. I'm passionate about it. Invested in your characters, invested in your story, and I only want people who read it to go, "Wow, this is great for both of us."
Exactly.
And that's the only way I want to work with someone if I'm passionately for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a match.
That's the way I want.
Yes. Yeah. So my whole point is in you saying consistent and really
I got the point.
Yeah. That they eventually came to you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry.
You're the magnetic superhero force. Ultimately.
And that was a good feeling.
Yeah.
Boy, you're good. You hit it right on the nose, and I got that. Yes.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this. That's how it can go, because that's all I've ever known. I just stick to my passion, keep my nose to the grindstone, keep going for my soul and my spirit. Didn't even know why. And the next thing you know, someone's tapping me on the shoulder going, "Oh, do you do personal coaching? I never asked to be a coach, Richard. Isn't that interesting? Somebody asked me." And I was like, well, I certainly do personal coaching, because I had been a fitness trainer, and I'm like, I've been coaching people all over the place, when I started this work. They came to me. And that's the whole point, is that we stay in our passion. And, we're not saying starve on the street. You have a day job, right?
That's very, very true. Yes, I do have a day job.
Yeah, and we don't never ever quit your day job, but do your passion on the side. Most people just are the life is sucked out of them in their day job. They kill off all their passion. They're not even doing anything on the side passion wise, and it's just like, okay, that is just a very sad life, because I hear about it all the time. Oh, I wish I could dance. Oh, I always wanted to be a dancer. Da, da, da.
Oh, Lord, you can be a dancer. I went to North Carolina School of the Arts. Yes, you can be a dancer.
Oh, no, not me. I mean, I'm just saying people say it because I do.
Not you.
Oh, you're right. We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
And people, they're not even taking like a little itsy bitsy fitness class at the cheap gym.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we're talking about. Okay, so let's move now. So this is all great. And it wasn't so easy, because usually what happens, it's not usually, without a shadow of a doubt, what happens is there's a huge breakthrough. There's a huge effortless action. And then guess what? Dun, 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 dun. Bam, breakdown. Let's go to the breakdown, because that's what happened, because we didn't see each other after
True.
Yeah. So what was the next breakdown?
I was doing the writing for the character that I was doing, and it was I had a breakthrough. Shortly after that, there was a good friend of mine, Grant Monk, great guy. He asked me to do some storyboards, and I did them for this. There was this like interview dialogue thing with celebrities, and I was simply going to visualize what the celebrities were talking about. I went through this, that, and it was going to be for done in a flash animation. Well, I did that, and with that, I lost momentum because I did the first one, and he said, "That's very imaginative," and I didn't hear anything about that one. Yeah. And there was another one I was supposed to do, but I didn't hear really back from him, so I kind of retarded in the storyboarding.
Yeah.
In that process, however, I didn't get back to the writing, and it slowed to a stop. I had my notebook of everything that I had did, timelines and whichever, but I just didn't get back to it, and I never recovered from that. My fault. I'm not going to blame him. But,
right.
That was the break. That was the breakdown.
Right. Now, here, I just want to quickly tell people the cycle that I've been through over and over again. My God, if I had just listened to myself, you and I wouldn't even know each other because I'd be living in Dubai, like driving around in my underwater car, you know, and right. But it's that we think we got it, we have momentum, and then we lose momentum, and what happens is we get re-triggered into the self-sabotaging cycle unconsciously, and it goes awry. And especially if we don't have the same structures in place to keep us in momentum, in maintenance, in sustenance. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's imperative, you know, I've had so many coaches, mentors, advisors, counselors, therapists. I would never have been able to do it without them. And then holding me so accountable, like holding the mirror up to my face and going, "You're a drama queen." What? How dare you? Oh my God, how dare you? Me, a drama queen? You're kidding me. You're fired. You know, and he was so spot on. And I knew at some level he was right. And so, but he was a coach. He was the speaker. Right. He was in the front of the room. And I just kept going. So we lose momentum when we don't have that same structure in place. So that happens because a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm good. I don't need to have my coaches or my mentors or my advisors," and we don't do that. So we stop, and that's okay because then we learn. So there's always going to be that issue. But even if we have the coach, the mentor, the advisor, the therapist, whatever it is, we're still going to break down. That's what we need to know here. And so then the next thing is we break down because one little thing reminds us back in our childhood that we're not worth it, we're not good enough, we don't deserve it, and we're not enough. That's unconsciously the phenomenon that occurs. Can you does that resonate with you, Richard, in looking backwards? That you lost your momentum? Yeah.
It does, but I will tell you kind of one of the things that actually made me sort of like stop. With the writing that I was doing, I was amazed that you really lauded me for writing my ideas down in a notebook and not typing them into a solid script. Yeah. It made me feel very, very inspired. It really did. But the next step was there, which is to edit the thing and actually make it into a solid thing. So basically the discipline level lifted and the needing to be tighter lifted. And I just, for some reason, and yeah, it was when I stopped going to see you, because I'm certain that if I expressed, okay, now that I wrote this by hand, easy, I've got to type this up. And I'm not that enthused about that. If I talked with you about that, you would, let's just say you would have set me straight.
Yes, thank you.
Because because to understand people, this is my passion. This is what I say I want to do. And she knows this.
Yeah.
And she would go, look. Well, I don't know exactly what you would do, but I would know I would get back into that state of, let's just get this done.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So wise for you to look back in retrospect to see that. So you got stopped, you got blocked. But here's the thing with you. I wasn't there to coach you. Again, me as just a messenger, or anybody that does the same type of work to dig deep. So, but right. But it's okay because that was your journey and your path. You had to go through it. It was inevitable. But then the thing that happened is you never gave up. You kept going. You were stopped. You lost momentum. Kind of, do you remember what happened and what had you click back in?
One, like I said, it's a goal I've had since 3. It's never going away.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically that. It's just it's never going to. It's something I'm really inside committed to. I can't. Well, not everybody feels this way about their field, but I can't think of life without doing this.
Bingo.
And I won't accept deep inside. I won't accept a life that this goal is not either happening or going to happen. And by the way, you know I did contact you, right? I contacted you recently, and that's why we're talking.
Yes.
With the projects that I have,
mm-hmm.
I am now having to push past those discipline levels that I bumped into back then.
Right.
And I'm going like, I gotta make this a solid project, and it's happening.
Yes.
I'm doing it.
Yes.
And when you break through a wall
mm-hmm.
that was there, it's so inspiring. And yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's when I was tired. I typed her and said, thank you so much, because I felt that it's happening. I'm being me.
Yes.
I'm being me. I'm actually being me, for me, and not for someone else.
Exactly.
And it was amazing. I ran back because that same feeling that I got from that day was there.
Exactly. We have to go back and reconnect to it. To just shortcut it, to catapult things, this is imperative that we go back and reconnect to our passion. See, people forget that. And we get discouraged and we want to quit and we forget, which the brain will automatically, if the fear trigger is activated, the brain automatically cancels out rationale and logic. Meaning, you got it. Meaning, we forgot what we started in the first place, the passion. You're like, what? And we get all out of sorts, and that's what stops us. Did you just get that? Richard, you did. I know you did. What'd you hear? Oh, my God.
You go, the realization that you just got finished mentioning.
Yeah.
You're right. Every time I step back, my mind goes back to all the times I've failed.
Yep.
Goes back to all those times that failed. And what you just got finished saying was, for me, the way I go forward now is I have to forcefully remember the successes. That's what made me remember you.
Exactly. Bingo. And it's so weird to say it. It is so weird to say
I
it.
had to actually go, I did do this. I've done this before. I can do this. Contrary to the other voice that's there, like you said, in everybody.
Yeah.
But and I'm right now. I'm busting through that wall, and I've been doing it over and over again, and it's been tough.
Yes, it is.
But I win.
Exactly. Because you are hardwired for passion first and foremost. So that's the key here. Is you will go, I know this, I can feel it. You will go, like you might stop, but not for long, because you know the difference, the feelings. You're an artist, a creative. You know, you're off kilter. You're like not in the zone, and that's what pulls us back. Right? That's what pulls us back, and that's what's kept you going, you know? And so that's the thing. I really want to make this clear for myself, for you, and all the listeners is, yes, you're going to break down. Get over it. Sorry, and that sounds pretty cold, but when I say get over it, I don't mean like get over it. Your emotions and your thinking doesn't matter. Like your feelings don't matter.
No, not at all.
Is accept the fact that we'll have a massive breakthrough and then a massive breakdown. But here's the greatest news of all. There ain't no next breakthrough without the breakdown. So the breakdown is just a signal, a warning sign to say, this is another area where we think we're weak that we need to strengthen for maintenance and sustainability. And then my saying is strengthen your weaknesses, not your strengths. And that's all it comes down to, is accepting that. I call it Death Valley. We're going to take a drive through Death Valley. There is Death Valley, California. If you've ever been there, it's terrible. But in life, we have to be willing to face the darkness, and go through and do things that aren't comfortable. But the key to sustaining that is stay connected to the passion of how that's going to get you to maintain your passion over the long haul for a lifetime. Lifelong passion and desire. So that's what does it. But understand, Richard, there's always going to be, and not just you, I'm talking to everybody and myself first and foremost. Yeah.
Right.
That there's going to be one breakdown after another. So then the next question is, who are we going to be in the face of that breakdown? Courageous.
I had a breakdown this week.
Yeah. Well, welcome to passion living.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to passion living.
Yeah. And disclaimer, spoiler alert, sorry. And let's just ask any, extraordinary human being on the planet, here's all you need to do to be and live who you see yourself as ultimately in your gifts, your talents, your passions, your desires, is be willing to break down and keep going. That's it.
Yeah.
Is being willing to be okay when it doesn't go well.
Right.
And then implementing the things that had worked. And that's really how to do it, Richard. I mean, here we are. You're going to hit the next breakdown. Accept it. Don't resist it. Be okay with it. Fall in love with it. So now I say, breakdown. Wait. Goody. Yay. What's on the other side? What do I need to learn here? What am I missing that I can't see that I need to get to catapult me to the next level? And I look backwards and go, every time I've just sat with the breakdown, I have been able to withstand the uncomfortableness to the breakthrough. But then after the breakthrough, Richard, you ready?
Yeah.
It's then the magic. The magic on the other side is far greater and more exciting, exhilarating, and intoxicating than you could ever dream of or imagine. Over and over again have I done that. And that's what I go back to. I'm like, wait a minute. I recognize this. Hold on. What is my passion? What was I doing this in the first place for anyway? And how many times has it turned out better than I could even ever foresee? And we're talking magic of all magic. Does that make sense to you, Richard?
I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. And because it's true. I think that's what I needed to hear that. That's good.
Yeah. And a quick story. I just did this. I have been wanting a new horse, and I am a crazy horse magnet. But here, this time I did it newly and differently. And this time I turned down 5 horses because I said, no, Karen, distraction. No, Karen, you're trying to feel good. No, Karen, Band-Aid. No, you're just trying to get a quick fix like an addiction. Truth be told, a little addicted to horses, where I have to have a horse. No, this time I got smart. And I'm like, nope, discipline. Do not do the quick fix because it's only a quick fix. It is not for, we want to go for instant gratification instead of delayed satisfaction and meaningfulness, right? And fulfillment.
Right.
So this time I turned down 5 horses and it hurt. The last horse I turned down, I was like, oh no, don't. And I did. And it didn't even, and she was not happy because she knew I was the horse owner for that horse. And I had to turn it down because I knew it wasn't a match and it was a distraction. I was trying to sabotage myself because I'm working on my smart app right now and talk about breakdown. I live in Death Valley right now getting this smart app together. It's not the content, it's the infrastructure. It is so painful for me. Not my jam, okay? And so I was trying to distract myself to feel good, Richard. Listen for something for yourself by doing something to make me feel good in the moment by getting another horse instead of facing the pain and uncomfortableness of feeling like a failure in getting the app together. And it wasn't fast enough and it's taken too long. And now I got to sit on my butt and learn more technology and software. No. So this time I saw it and I keep getting better and better and better. And I said, nope, no horse. Long story short, boom. After turning down the horse, I go visit my mother. And that was another yet Death Valley in itself of just really amplifying my relationship with my mom. So I'm sorry, that was after the fact. But before that, out of the blue, I couldn't even believe it. I get the call, Karen, I have a horse. And it was from my horse trainer, horseshoer friend. He goes, you got to take this horse. It's a great horse. I'm like, what? No, I'm not feeling well. I'm stressed. Okay, I'm going to drop it off. What? Okay, I'm sick. I swear to God, he drops it off in the night. I wake up like Christmas morning, and there she is. I got to tell you, he drops off one of the most gorgeous horses I've ever seen. That I couldn't even believe it, Richard. No. Right?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
And not only that, she's the horse I've been wanting years ago that I forgot. This is unconscious proficiency. She showed up exactly the right time, and it's the same breed as my beautiful, gorgeous black stallion that you saw. I think you saw him. And I can breed to her, but she's so gorgeous and stunning. It's ridiculous. And it's only to the experienced horse owner eye that she has the conformation and the leg lift and the high neck and the long neck, and she's tall, like all these things, and she has a perfect ears. This is all crazy, but for breeding's sake, it is like beyond belief better than I ever could have imagined. And she keeps getting better. She needs training and work, but she keeps getting better over time. I'm so amazed when I look at her, Richard, that I had no idea. That's the magic I speak of. Is I was willing to say no, willing to stay in Death Valley, willing to sustain the uncomfortableness, stay focused on my passion. And why am I doing the Smart app? Not to have an app, but to help more people, right? And for way less money and get my message out there. So I stay focused to that, and all of that produces, ta-da, my dream horse that I've been wanting for a long time that I forgot about. So the magic happens when we least expect it. And at some level, it was the magic that we wanted to have happen earlier on, just like 3 years old and your comic book stuff. Does that make sense?
I remember you talking about letting go.
Yeah.
I remember you talking like you wanted something so badly. Well, let it. Don't be so passionate about it. Let it go. And I remembered that. And it obviously didn't make sense at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now, the reason I'm laughing, you were talking about wanting the horses and something great happened. Well, okay, in order for me to piggyback off what you're saying, in order for me to really be a solid artistic force for my clients,
yes,
I had to get a new Macintosh setup, scanner, printer, computer, and everything. I actually need to get two, so I can ink on one and pencil on the other and color on the other. I need to have that. And what happened after I started doing this, at least two people have offered to sponsor me.
Bingo.
And that was crazy. Now I need to do work. I'm in line to do work with them, for them. I'm working on my present project. But it's like these guys are wanting to not only pay for the computer program because they believe in me. They've known me for years. Yeah. And they've seen my work, but we weren't talking sponsorship when I knew them before. But they're willing to, like in this time while I'm building my funds as an artist, they're willing to, make it so I can do that all day and not have a day job.
Bingo.
That was just last year, December of last year. And I don't know what to say.
Exactly. Right, okay, that's the magnetic force that you are. Do you understand? Is building those relationships, having people like and trust you, and then want to help you and sponsor you. That's how it's done. Again, that magnetic force. I do want to clarify something very vitally important about what you said. We have to just change the wording because it wasn't as accurate. But that is the point, is that it's better than we could ever imagine on the other side of sustaining the breakdown. Are we clear about that, Richard? Are we crystal clear?
We are.
Whoa! Now, it's not that I said don't be so passionate about it. No, that's not my words.
Okay.
I'm saying don't expect anything and don't be attached to it as defining you or having to prove something is what I'm saying. Right. But be passionate is all to high heaven. Don't ever lose that. But we have to let go of the need to prove or the ego-based driving force. We got to let that go. We cannot be driven by the fear of it. We have to be driven by the pleasure of it. And that's what we stay with. So when I say it, I say, no, take out the charge of expectation and attachment, and then you're good to go. So I still wanted the horse. I'm like, oh, and I even told this one woman that I thought I was going to get that horse. I said, let's wait till next year. But she never returned the text, right?
I got you.
But I was super focused, and I said, that horse is going to come. But right now, I'm using it as a distraction.
Yeah.
Right? So then I said no, and in that magic, the passion was still there, but that's when this horse showed up.
See, that's where I was with the computer. My computer had gone down. And so I was in a and so I kind of like, I guess I can't. So I've got to borrow from other people, I was working at a school at the time. They allowed me to use their computers for doing a project that was very nice. But I'm like, well, I apparently can't get a computer right now because I can't afford it. So I was like, probably can't. And then that happened. And then
bingo, you were okay with it without going down the darkest road and giving up.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it takes. And then look, you magnetized me asking you to be on the podcast. Isn't that
amazing too?
Yes.
I didn't expect that. I just wanted to say thank you, really.
I know. And it was in your beingness and with your attitude and your character. And just reaching out and doing that was a magnetic energy. And then I said, oh my gosh, I can't deny that magnetism. I'm going to invite him onto the podcast. And then you even tried to say no to it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't even mess with Acacia, because that ain't gonna happen. Okay, no to the no to the no. Okay.
Well, you were very kind, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Yes, well, I mean, your story is so magnificent, and for me, because sometimes, as a coach, I don't know what's happening. Like, there are days when I'm like, have I done anything? Have I been of service to people? Have I been a contribution? Have I helped one even little turtle? We start to, yeah. And to hear this, I'm like, wow. And right now, it's like I'm working on researching the sustainability of reprogramming the subconscious and unconscious mind. It's daunting. So do you understand that you just showing up and doing that helps my research, helps the case studies, helps me to know and own that the rewiring process definitely is beneficial and has long-term effects. Do you understand? Like you're actually contributing to humanity and the evolution of the mind. So thank you, Richard. I mean, that's priceless, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So thank you. So you're a magnet and a force to be reckoned with, a magnetic force to be reckoned with. And you're going to break down and you go right back to the passion, and you, without any attachments, believe and have faith. You talked about your Bible. Look up faith, definition of faith. And that's what it takes over and over again, is believing with no evidence and staying true. Staying true to yourself. Absolutely. Your heart and your soul, and your calling, your passion, and the universe lines up, and then you got sponsorship. That's how I've done it. That's how I was able to make it to where I am today. Same way.
My ears did perk up when I heard that.
Oh, it did? Okay. Wow.
You were talking about yeah.
Oh, when it was, it sounded like you were breaking up, but you were like, I'm speechless, yes?
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh my God, that's so great. Now let's wrap it up, because I could stay on the phone with you for hours talking about all these amazing things. So in wrapping it up, what were the highest points for you today for you that helps you continue with your incredible dream and magnificence? Can you do a recap of the things that really hit you?
I can easily say when you were talking about breakdowns, because like I said, I had one this week where I'm drawing, just like I'll be tomorrow on a page, and I'm thinking things are going slow, and I figured out, I'm thinking of ways of making it faster. The work is looking excellent. I'm very happy with it, but I was like going, when is this thing going to get done, and how can I give the best time to my clients as well as a product. And so all those memories of, being behind when I was a child, taking tests, being the last one to get finished with it, and turning in some projects late in school, all that stuff is coming at me, and I'm worried about my future. Yeah. I'm worried about that I won't be able to do this. And that was the breakdown. Yeah. And so, but you helped me overcome it even today. But I was going to go forward because I ain't letting this go crazy. I ain't letting this go. But still, I feel a whole lot more confident as a result of you acknowledging that, because I've been through it this week.
Yes, and that's what happens. We get triggered into our childhood wounds, and then and then the conscious mind has to kick back in and go, no, hang on. And I'm going to tell you the answer here, Richard, so pay attention. Unconsciously, it is that ultimate fear of failure or not being good enough and being stuck in the unhappiness for you and stuck in not creating. That's your biggest fear. And so we want to say, oh, that's my fear. Acknowledge it and go, no. I got caught up in my brain's default mechanism for survival. Does that make sense? It just has to go back. Yeah, it just has to go back to what it knows. What would you just get?
Wow. Survival. I didn't even think of it like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's normal. We want to go back to what is family familiar, what we have known, and it's taking you back to that. And now your brain thinks it's real because it's the hardest wiring in your neuronal patterning. And then your brilliant conscious mind has to step in and go, wait a second, that was then, this is now, that was my past.
Right. Absolutely.
Is that no, and then stay in communication. If I feel I'm going slow, just say, wait a minute, I've got this. Recall and remind yourself of all the successes and what it's taken for you to get here. Talk to them and saying, okay, even if it's coming close to a deadline, say, I'm sorry, and tell the truth. I got a little block there and I just freed it up. Could I have at least a one more day to get the project into you? And they're most likely going to say, yes, absolutely. And unless it's a hard deadline. But what it will do is allow you to just go back to, wait a minute, I think I'm failing when in reality, in objective reality, I'm so far succeeding and exceeding my dreams. Do you understand that? And then clarity sets in, and then you're able to get right back on track instead of freak out. Because then you weigh the costs. The last part is weigh the costs of stopping. No, you're not going to have any of that.
Oh, no. No.
Right? And this is how we sustain the breakdowns. Is go, oh, wait, there's me thinking I'm going to fail and me projecting in the future. See, you're worried about your future. There is no such thing as a future. There's only right now. The brain is a prediction machine to keep us in survival. So it's up to the conscious mind to say, no, I'm staying right here, right now, and I believe in myself, and I've done this once before, twice before, 10 million times before. I will do it again. Yeah.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, I love that. Anything else that's really hitting you in terms of the magic? And that.
You're reminding me. You bring it on because I don't know why I forgot what I'm getting ready to tell you. Friday, I sent in the pages to my clients, taking pictures of them because my client is in Maryland.
Uh-huh.
And I take a picture of the entire comic book page, then the details thereof. And, I stay in contact with them every week. So I sent the pages that I have. And after this breakdown, and you were saying it's not as bad as it actually is, but I literally forgot that it's not. While we're talking, I literally forgot that it's not that bad because my clients said, work is outstanding. You're going to change a lot of lives with your work.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's not a bad thing, but I'm actually my mind is being open to the fact that my mind is really wired to the negative.
Yes.
Because it forgot the positive. The positive just happened yesterday.
Thank you.
And I still have that very conscious. So yeah. Yeah,
there's
that's
a magic.
The thing that's hitting me the most because I can climb from there, and then I just learned something about myself.
Okay, and did he write that or say it? Do you have it actually in writing?
It was text, and it was two people. It was using Messenger.
Okay, so you have it in writing. Isn't that interesting? You completely forgot. You're freaking out.
I can actually text that to you. Text that to there were 2 people.
Yeah.
So I tell both of them, yeah.
Okay, so repeat it again because you're freaking out. And in fact, just yesterday, you get a message that says what? Say it again.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just a second. I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. This is from Clyde Goings. And I'm reading from Messenger. And this is after I sent the pages to him. And he said, so many lives will be changed by you, Rich.
Wow.
So there was that the reason being because this is an independent product, but I'm dedicated to giving them DC Marvel level work.
Right.
That's what I'm giving, and you know, they appreciate that.
Yes, but let's say focus on the facts. You're freaking out on yourself because you're thinking at some level. I love your laugh. It's so exciting. And there, in fact, he's like, you're going to change a lot of lives. Okay, you know what? I mean, we can't even put a price on that because that's ultimately what it's about. Hence the podcast. That's why we're even doing this early in the morning, right? Do you see this?
Yeah, keeping in mind that I pretty much thought I was a failure at that. Not exactly a failure, but I didn't think of myself like that.
Bingo.
At that time.
Exactly. You were feeling like a failure or feeling like you were failing. And then boom, the evidence contradicts that illusion that you have in your brain, which only comes from your past and your childhood, but it's not the truth.
Right. It's not real.
No, it's not real.
Exactly.
It's a myth. It's a virus.
It's a myth.
Yeah. It's crap on a cracker, Richard. It's crap on a cracker. All right?
Yeah.
Okay?
And I couldn't, and I'm amazed that I couldn't see it because I'm so wired to believe the negative.
Exactly. And like I said, the fear is triggered and then the brain automatically shuts off logic and rationale. It's the brain's mechanism. It's how the brain's designed. We can't fight that. Only consciousness can help us. And to understand that is you were in fear, so you couldn't see the magic or believe in the magic, and the magic is right there in black and white in writing. So that's an amazing thing. I want you to stay connected to the magic on the other side. You know, when you're going through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. As a matter of fact, I'll write that down right now.
Okay, yeah, write that down. But you have it on the podcast too, recorded.
Right.
Yeah, but write it down. And so let's wrap it up here so you can write that. Any last words of wisdom? You know, what would you want to say to everyone listening?
You asked me about what the other person said.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Again, I'm saying this not to brag, folks, not to toot my horn, just to, one, I'm thankful that my clients are happy with my services to this point because that's what I want them to be. I want them to be happy.
Right.
So the other client said, most excellent, love what I see, and you take as much time as you need. The details you draw are amazing.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait a second. He actually says, take as much time as you need. Are you insane? You are one delusional superhero.
There you go.
Oh my God. This is the eternal mind F, right? That is crazy. Now you sound like you're absolutely insane to think that you're failing. And then you're like, I don't have enough time. I need to hurry up. And there's like, take as much time as you need. And then what was the last part? Say it again. Read it again.
Hold up. Yeah, it moved.
I love that.
Take as much time as you need. The details you draw are amazing.
The details you draw are amazing. Hello.
I try and draw extra stuff to where for future comics they might be able to get some of the details and make a story out of it. So, you know. Right.
Well, there you go. Over delivering. But my point is, you're crazy to yourself. This is what we do. This is why we become our own worst enemy to ourselves. Is because the brain cancels out logic and rationale and we can't see the magic right before our eyes in black and white in writing in a court of law. You have evidence. Oh, my goodness. Why, right?
It happened just this week.
Exactly. And I love that. you're freaking out about time. He's like, take as much time as you need. You're like, what? Now you can really embellish and embrace that, right? And integrate it, assimilate it in your brain. And that's why we're here. So that's the magic. With that frequency alone, that vibrational frequency and radio frequency of brains picking up the vibration of other brains, that's what you're encoding and encrypting in your head. The computer, the brain is a computer for the human being. And bam. Right. So congratulations, Richard. I just can't thank you enough for showing up, being here, laughing. Oh, I love the laughter. And sharing, your story and the breakdowns, the breakthroughs, and then providing even evidence, that shows us how crazy we are to hurt ourselves. And then the reality before us of why it's been so worth it for you to endure and prevail, to persist, be consistent, yes? And be faithful, you ready? Be faithful to your heart, your soul, and your passion, and your burning desire. So congratulations. I mean, you've got this. This is awesome. So
I'm a better person because of this interview. I truly am.
Yay. Well, thank you.
True.
And I love hearing that. And is there any last one sentence that you'd like to share to the listeners as advice? What advice would you give a listener, possibly, if anything?
Whatever you want and whatever you want out of life, whatever you want to do, you are worth doing it and everything it takes to make it happen.
Wow. I love that. Okay, that's magnificent. Whoa, chills. Like I call them angel chills. So thank you all for listening.
My name is Angel Chill, yeah.
Yeah, Angel Chills. And so Karen Lovely at Gmail, I would love to hear from you. Listen to the podcast. This is all about empowering you through us. And that's what this is about, sharing what we've been through experience. And there's always something in it for you in your life that is relatable to help you catapult yourself into becoming a magnet for your dreams, for health, wealth, wellness, relationships, whatever you desire, that you are the magnetic force and the compelling energy that has it come toward you, because that's what I'm all about. Not just living in your passion and your genius, but magnetizing it coming to you as opposed to forcing and going after it. No, thank you. A little too busy, and those 5-inch stiletto heels that I wear are hard to run in. Okay? Yeah. And so, Richard, you'll keep us posted. You'll stay in communication, and I'm sure we'll do this again at some point. I want to wish you all the best with your career, and so far, so magnificent. Thank you for being on this podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, may you live a fairy tale, dreamy, magical, mysterious, thrilling, exhilarating life. Thank you so much. And I love you.